Nailed it, Club. For life.
Alright, fellas. Today, we got the results of this week's Wish Pile custom card creation contest. And I've been avoiding looking at them all day so that we could do it together. So, right out the gate, Michael Goodwin was our winner this week. Like I said, I've been trying to avoid all the cards so that I could like organically react to them and read them. So give my opinions on things. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so this is the card that won, it looks like. No Land. Morpheus from the old Matrix. This is my summer home. Every card they were trying to deal with a something that they didn't like about the design of the game and to try to address it. Alright, so this has like 8 different problems it tried to address. My count, okay. Looking at the parameters of the round, one I decided that I would solve is the following problems. More counters are needed for Dark Phoenix supporting character. The Prey team is really shallow, especially on the top end. So that's reasonable. And we aren't likely getting to get much, if any, more from the Predator Prey intellectual property. So anything that we get needs to really make the most of the original battles and contribute maximum versatility and deck design. Okay. There's a lot here. So like when I submitted my card, I did not write this much. I wrote literally a word or like 3 words. Let's see here. All right, select judges' comments. This one is really well thought out. I believe it was a real card if someone recruited it to the field. I think its balance is impeccable. Strong, versatile, but not overpowering. Okay. This is a great use of an underutilized and normally forgotten mechanic. I wonder what that is. All right, let's look at Noland real quick. All right, so we have, this is my summer home. While a game preserve is on any side, Noland has camouflage and may play Predator equipment on him from your side. All right, hold on. From your hand and each KO pile, ignoring team restrictions. Once in a while, one of us kills one of them. Reaction. Double green. When an enemy player recruits a character, it loses and cannot gain powers this turn. And when it appears, stun it. So it's got like a mutant control act on it. And double green, just literally kill anything. Doesn't KO, it just kills it. So that's supposed to be the counter to Dark Phoenix. It's interesting too that he doesn't use the colors that he has in his, like, he doesn't utilize the game preserve. He utilizes might. Trying to think from like a flavor point of view. Skill would be red. That would have been better as a red. It's interesting though. I think as a 6-drop, like I don't think this ability is that strong. So I think you could beef up his stats a little bit. Obviously you're never just playing this on 6. I guess the camouflage thing though is you have to have small, that's true. The camouflage, you have to have small defense to like balance that out. So this thing is, if you have a red in a play, your opponent can't interact with it and then you can just stop them from playing cards. So now that I like take a step back from this card, that is actually like overbearingly strong, right? Because like you could just completely, outside of like you get the Predator equipment part, just completely ignore that, right? And you're just like, okay, now I have the 7/2 with camouflage. You can't do anything to it. I've got double greens. Like if this was in the Harrigan list, Harrigan's used 1 green all turn. Your opponent plays a 7-drop, you kill it. You play a Spider-Gwen from your deck, flip 2 greens back up. Your opponent plays an 8-drop, you kill it. Yeah, I mean, it would be really strong. It might be a little overbearing. We got the Predalien. So I know there was 2 Predaliens. This one is by Stacks. The other one was by myself. Let's look at the problem here. The narrow amount of viable game finishing characters in Benchwarmers format. There's a dash of Thanos, not really much else. The secondary problem we're addressing is in regards to the Xenomorph team, which has become significantly power crept due to lack of support. So they're a little less good now because you get because there's just natural power creep, and you can't augment that with a lot of the cards that can augment other old cards. Man, he wrote a bunch of stuff too. Yeah, let's just look at the card. Okay, so first off, just like I did, he put creature on it. An 8 costs 12/12. That's 3 health. Stat line is bigger than Thanos, technically, because it's got 1 extra wound. This town is completely overrun. Enemy characters have -1 attack for each other creature on your side. So that's one of those powers that on the surface, I think it looks like super strong and super overbearing. So like if you're able to get a bunch, like if you're able to stick the Predalien, and then the next turn, if you have a way to like get a bunch of creatures out, like the 1-drop, but like your hand's probably not that big at this point in the game, so it's like so yeah, this is a power on surface level looks super strong, but it's probably pretty balanced. Impregnate, combat, pay a space. If Predalien would strike an enemy character instead, put an egg counter on that character instead. Stun characters can have and gain egg counters. What does this do? Belly burst. At the start of your turn, so Predalien has to not get stunned. KO an enemy supporting character with an egg counter. Then you may put a Xenomorph supporting card from your hand onto your side. So basically it's a face hugger that you have to pay the space on the front end and then not get stunned. That seems like super balanced. The only thing is that it KOs. I don't know. Like, it has to be balanced because I'm having trouble on whether it's too strong or too weak. So I guess it like in that regard, it has to be pretty balanced, right? I mean, it costs a resource. She doesn't actually get to stun something on her attack, which like anytime you're dropping a 12/12, that's usually what you're wanting to do. And she has to not get stunned. So yeah, I mean, it seems pretty balanced. Man, the town is completely overrun with 3 health. That's a little, again, it's probably fine though, because you probably don't have like the resources in hand to like actually abuse the town is overrun. I like this card a lot. Fugitive Predator. I believe that is this guy, yeah? That is Nolan, right? In the movie. I plan to improve the situation that prey are their power crept out of viability. This Fugitive Predator, this card will give prey access to predator equipment and plot twists, and vice versa. Okay, so this is an answer to power creep. On the run, when another predator appears, you may hide Fugitive Predator. This is pretty, I mean, this is pretty fine. Let's look at 3-drops to look at stat line, because like the 3-drop stat line's a little wonky sometimes. So we got like 4 3s, 4 3s, 2 health, 4 2, only 1 health, but we have the range, Ajax 6. And then let's take a look at Fugitive Predator. So he's a little above stat line, right? Like he's a 4 6 with range and 1 health. Our other range guys, I guess she's like technically a 6 3. Probably a little overstated, but not like severely overstated by any means, right? Because like the power can only do so much. I like the opening other plot twists. Cool card. Like I said, maybe slightly overstated, but the ability's not like game breaking, so it's probably fine that it is stated the way it is. Although on the flip side of that, like Taskmaster's a 3/6 without range. So only a little bit more stats. So this is probably actually fine stat-wise. Yeah, I like this card. It's cool. Lambert. 2 issues we want to address. Alien and humanity are hard to splash in decks, and different ways to generate color symbols would improve deck consistency. When another character on your side can pay a alien or humanity, you may exhaust Lambert. If they do, they pay 1 less space or humanity. So one thing you didn't remember, which I almost forgot, is this is supposed to be for Benchwarmers. This is a company card. This is not a photographic card. So like photographic, I would completely Agree, since they don't have the basic locations, right? I don't know how much I agree with the space Earth thing in Illustrated, though, because you're just like giving Woe like 4 more Earths, I guess. Like, who's trying to splash that is having a hard time to splash the colors? You might want to like the only thing that comes to mind are like the gems, right? You have the Soul Gem and the Space Gem. But other than that, everyone else who has access in Illustrated to those things has a while for it. If I'm remembering correctly. I mean, I do like the idea. Like, again, if this was a photo card, I think this would be a great photo card. I'm not sold on it as an illustrated card. Statline's great. Statline's fine. Because you're not playing it to rumble, right? You're playing it for its ability. Could heal off of Elsa. Yeah. But like I agree, like giving Elsa extra heals, giving Woe extra hides, fine. But that, like, the problem that was presented was you wanted it for splashing decks that don't have wilds that have alien or humanity. And I don't see where the need is for that in Illustrated. In photo, I completely agree that, like, if this was like an X-Files card, this would be like amazing. That's just my opinion, though. Absorbing Man, we have a supervillain. Team up. Each supporting character on your side has supervillain supporting character. Okay, that's fair. 5 costs 4/4. Let's look at 5 drops real quick. So like the utility cards are 4/4s. The 5 5s. Things that actually want to rumble are like 7 6s, 9 3s, 6 5, 8 6. So on that end, he's understated unless he's like got severe utility, which team up isn't enough. As Guardian Absorption, choose a face-up character with a superpower. All right, so this is you use this during the main. Choose an enemy character with a superpower. Absorbing Man gets +6/+6 range this turn, which is weird that you have to use it during combat to get the range? Or is this like you can use this during the main or during combat? Costs 1 less the next time he uses the superpower. So it's always going to cost, it's going to cost 4 the first time and then 3 every time after that, the way this is worded. So the wording on as Guardian Absorption is a little confusing to me. Is the idea that it's like 4, 3, 2, 1 free? Or, because like the way it's worded makes me go, okay, it's a 4, and then next time I get to pay 3. Like, I can't, next time I use it, I pay 1 less for it. But then the next time I use it, I pay 1 less for it. So it's still 3 the next time. Like the 3rd and 4th time that you use it, it's still 3 based on the wording of it. I'm not sure if that was the intent or not, though. I think now looking at this further, I think this is, you can use it during the main or combat. Pick up. Okay, so here's a few issues I have that I'm confused with on this. Why are you choosing a face-up character with a superpower? Like, is that like a parameter that you can only use it if there's a character with a superpower? Because there's probably always going to be, right? And instead of like, if the intent was to make it cost like 4 3 2 1 0 0 0 0, then I think the wording should be pick a power like pick a symbol. Anytime he uses this power again, it costs that much less. So like it's indefinite. I don't know what the intent of the card is. So it's a cool card. Like, I definitely see like the baseline of like, okay, this is what you were going for. I think it was just a few wording things that tripped me up that got me confused. Xenomorph Worker. Design addresses the swarm archetype / strategy of overwhelming the opponent with many small creatures is basically not viable in versus. So that's what we're trying to address. This is a worker. 1 costs 1 3. Those are fine sets for a 1-drop. Everything seems fair so far. Build. Space or a energy. Or alien or energy. Name a supporting character that has both creature and swarm. So there's what? All the xenomorphs. So this is like catered to the xenomorphs. This would be Outriders and what were the servitors? I think those are the only things that have like creature and swarm. Oh, and the predator dog, yes. So those were both, you could choose any of those, right? Or any of the Xenomorphs. Pay 1 less to recruit supporting characters with that name this turn. Amplify. So if you discard the alien or the energy, name up to 2 supporting characters instead, or you pay 2 less to recruit the name. Okay, so that's interesting. So Amplify, you got a fork in the road. You can either be like, okay, all my Outriders and all my Servitors cost 1 less, or you can be like, now my Acid Bloods cost 2 less. It's interesting. The fact that you can drop a 2-drop on turn 1, or dump your hand with like 4 to 8 1-drops on turn 1 could be kind of overbearing. But here's a couple things to look at as far as balance goes. You're never gonna have an opening hand that's this guy, a space, and what would that, 5 to 7 of the same swarm creature. It's just not going to happen. So like, I think the card's pretty balanced. It's a really cool idea because like going wide, like he says, is not a thing that you can really do in this game. I think it's a simple idea that would have a positive effect on solving both the stated problems. Seems cool with Valkyrie. Yeah, this would be great with Valkyrie. And so like, and I think that's fine, right? Like you want, like when you're designing a card, you want a card that's like, okay, this is cool standalone, but like comboing really powerfully with other cards seems great. Yeah, this would be really cool with Valkyrie. I like the card. I think it's fine. This one is garbage. No, I'm just kidding. This one's mine. Everyone else had like this huge write-up on like, this is what I was trying to solve. This is how I solved it. I didn't know you were supposed to do all that. I didn't know you had to like explain your card. I thought your card was supposed to like explain itself. I didn't think you were supposed to or needed to like just explain why the card was designed the way it was. My problem was just diversity at the top end in all formats. I wanted a card that could be cool, that could do a lot of good stuff at the end of the game, but also you didn't have to be like, all right, Foom is this best one. Like, I wanted something that added a little, like, you have to have a good power and like, and you have to have a certain skill level to be like, that's what I wanted. I wanted a card that was like, you had to think about how I want to play this and where I could play it that it would be strong. So I also made a Pred Alien, like C-Sex did. We both gave it creature. So I wanted host DNA to be super strong, like super top end, right? Like if you get the chest bursted out, you get to take a card out of both characters' discard piles, remove them from the game, like Onslaught style, and get all their powers and all their stats. If you use chest burst to get it, you also get the captive. And I wanted it to be like my balancing mechanism was it's an abomination. Enemy characters can team attack it, ignoring all team restrictions. So a lot of you guys already know the thought process behind this card because I did a whole stream while I was making this card. So I just need to look forward. I need to be like, all right, this is my problem. I need to do better on the write-up side. Like I thought, okay, my card just needs to explain itself, and it was just not enough, I guess. Alaris, I think I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. We've got a Inhuman 3-drop, Inhuman's character, 5/4, kind of strong on the normal stat line as we looked at earlier. He's got durable, so he's always going to be able to, well, not always, but I mean he only has 2 wounds. At the start of your main phase, he gets 2 +1/+1 counters for each exhausted Inhuman's character. Supporting character. I was surprised that I didn't see in the Benchwarmers format more mono Inhumans. I thought it was one of the stronger decks when I was looking at the format. This would slot really well into it because it's already got decent stats for a 3, and it's going to be able to play off of the Terrigenesis Mist and just Terrigenesis in general, right? It doesn't work with Mist, but it works with just the Terrigenesis cards. So I guess like that kind of makes the stat line a little more understandable because like if you're playing this on 3, he's not getting any counters, so you kind of have to like build the counters into him, I guess. But yeah, so like at first glance, it's like, man, this guy's really overstated, right? Like he's probably gonna be like a 7/6 when he comes into play, but you can't if you want that, you can't play him on curve, so he's kind of like a 4-drop. Let's look at 4-drops real quick. I'm interested. I always like to do this, like when I was designing cards or whatever. Look at stat lines of the different characters. So Beast wants to. Beast is a terrible example. Let's look at someone who wants to rumble, who's fairly recent. Dakin would be like a 6/6 on 4. Flint is a wacky example. He's kind of a 6/6, but also not really. 5/5. So I guess like you kind of have to look at this guy like he's a 4-drop, right? So like if you look at him like as a 4-drop, I guess his stat line is a 7/6 4-drop would be like reasonable. Yeah, this has been a really strong card. I don't think this is like too outlandish either. Like I think it's pushing the limits of being outlandish, but like it's fine. Yeah, I mean I don't hate it. I don't like. At first glance, this card seems like super like yoked, but it's fine. It builds off of a weakness of the team. Like, I don't know. Just my opinion, though. Yeah, I think this is fairly balanced, though. Like, after you look at it, right? Like, because honestly, it's basically a 4-drop. Like, it's a 4-drop that you either have to play with a Nausea or a, what's her name? Swain, right? And then as a 4-drop, it's a 7/6, which is on par with other 4-drops. I don't think it's like busted. I think it's a strong card. Jamie Bardock. All right, so reaction. Pay energy. I believe that's what it's called. When an enemy player recruits a character, man, we're just gonna drown in recruit abilities throughout this entire competition. Let's just be like, oh, this thing answers Dark Phoenix, recruit, and when it's recruited, but that's a Dark Phoenix problem. If they have AKA keyword, that character transform into another supporting character that shares a title with AKA. So this is like specifically, like super specifically geared towards Dark Phoenix, right? After reading this card, here's my issue. Anytime I build a deck now, it's my responsibility to bring a pile of all the AKAs for all my characters. Or is it this person's responsibility to bring all the AKA characters so that he can transform them? I get the idea, but like in practice, it's like, oh, now I have to bring all these extra cards to the event. But yeah, it seems super, super geared towards making Dark Phoenix less good. So it's like, oh, anytime you make a cap, if I recruit my photo cap, can I make my opponent put this nomad in? If they have an AKA keyword. I don't think AKA is a keyword though, right? I think it's a rules text. I see what you're going for. You're just trying to like kill. You're trying to kill phoenixes. I think it's a me thing. It's like now everyone like every answer to Phoenix is just going to be do something when your opponent recruits a card. I see what you're going for though. Interesting. Patriots, 4-drop, super shield, loyalty. Agent leader. A team that trusts is a team that triumphs. You pay 1 less to recruit supporting characters. Shield supporting characters. A team divided is a team defeated. Players pay 1 extra to recruit a supporting character who does not share a team affiliation with their main characters. There's a lot going on here. I'm not sure why we have triple shield. Unless that's like all the other loyalty cards have the shield, like the triple team affiliation. I guess that's kind of what you were going for here. Let's look at this from that's a good point, Geezer. Let's look at this from a balancing point of view. Faction is shield. I mean, you're getting shield agents for free. I don't know how big of a deal that is. Slingshot for free every turn seems obnoxious though. It's like, oh, I play this 4-drop, I play my slingshot. Next turn I play my perfect curve, I play my slingshot. That seems super annoying, especially since you're guaranteed to get to do it 3 times. Like, this is a pretty crazy stat line for a 4-drop. Like, I understand you're playing it in a loyalty deck, but like, good lord. Every team attack, he gets to choose whether or not he gets stunned. So let's look at this. This is 4. So on 5, you're playing Hawkeye. Seems pretty strong. 6, you're playing Iron Man. And your opponent on their turn 4, say you're going first. Their turn 4, they get to play a 3-drop into this thing. That seems really strong. Like, I like the idea of the tax effects, but like, man, the 3 health and the stat line is just crazy big here. It's an interesting design though. Like, I like where we're going with it. I think it needs to be like dialed back a little bit. That's just my opinion though. Let's see here. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's just too much here. Like, I feel like this, like, again, like, you have to do this kind of thing to a card to make loyalty like reasonable. Right? Like, you have to justify playing a loyalty shield deck. And I guess this would do it, right? Like, this is kind of nutso. Your opponent can't play their Foom till turn 9. Man. Like, now that I bring up the loyalty thing, I'm a little, like, I still think it's a little too yoked for what he's doing. Like, I think it's doing too much. It either needs to be, like, these stats and do like one of these things, or like dial the stat line back a little bit. Like, the fact that you guarantee with leader that he's not going to get stunned, so that you get to mess up their recruitment for 3 turns is just insane. Like, when the game is like largely about tempo anyway. But again, the loyalty thing, so you gotta look at it both sides. Isika the Unbeaten? I think I pronounced that atrociously, but that's fine. I have no idea who this character is. I do know she's a 4-drop 5/7. The problem I'm trying to solve here is alt-win conditions. I often feel like player A can be helpless to put player B from an alt-win if their deck isn't set up that way. So I tried to design a character that makes it more challenging for them. Okay, cool. She turned. When she appears, wound a supporting character on your side. When she leaves play, heal a wound from a supporting character on your side. Okay, so this, I don't know completely, but kind of justifies the extra wound. Yeah, so I really like that. Like, so at first I was like, man, the stat line might be like, I think we were kind of like, we just came off of this 4-drop 6/7 with 3 to go to this 4-drop 5/7 with 3, and I was like, oh no, I don't know. We're not loyalty. That's pretty interesting. Unbeaten. Enemy players cannot win the game unless your main character has fatal wounds. This power cannot be turned off. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the alt-win thing. What alt-wins do we have in the game right now? It's Kelly and Dutch. This is not a real power. Look at this guy right here. At one point in the game, this was real. Hardly real anymore. So this is only to answer Kelly. I don't know. I think if you wound your main character, that could be like a pretty steep... Oh, you're saying like you wound your main character and then you heal your main character? I could see that as well. The problem with that is you have to think about... Well, I guess you don't have to think about anything you don't want to think about. We'll get back to the Senator Kelly thing here in a second. I guess Captain America as well. There are ways that you could do shenanigans, I think. I'm trying to think of how it would work. No, I guess there's really nothing that like you can like put her into play while your MC's not in play. And then like her leave play and then like heal the wound. I think the Sheik's turn power is fine. I actually like this card a lot. I think unfortunately it only stops Kelly. Because it doesn't stop Pixie Max, because Maximus KOs their MC, like, and that's technically fatal wounds, right? Anytime your character gets KO'd. This doesn't stop Gamora, because it KOs them. That's fatal wounds. Does it stop Deadpool? It does stop Deadpool. No, it doesn't, because she would be face down. Her power would be off. Oh no, this power cannot be turned off. Okay, that's fine. I like this card. I think this card's neat. She turned a bit. Like I said, when I first looked at this card, I looked at the stat line. I'm like, ooh, this chick is thick. She likes to party. And I think this is the kind of card that if you're playing an all-in Kelly deck, if this just slams on the board, your opponent can't deal with it. I like this card. I think it's cool. Chest Burster, 1 cost. Xenomorph. Creature Swarm. Oh no, not again. I hate it when my chest gets burst. 1/3, decent stat line. Build, pay an alien. KO Chest Burster, so kill this thing. You may recruit characters with Swarm from your KO pile this turn. So this is try to support the Swarm mentality of the team. I think this would do that. Interesting thing though, is the intent of the card to be able to recruit him after you KO him? Man, you know how sick this card would be with this boy? Like, let's make a fan set, boys. Like, we have so many alien cards that people posted. It's insane. Like this and this. Swarm could actually, like, aliens like Zerg could be a thing. This card's sweet. The only thing that I have issue with is, and I actually don't even have, like, I guess issue is the wrong word. I'm just curious if the intention was, okay, pay a space, KO my Chest Burster, I'm going to recruit this Chest Burster, and a bunch of other things. If that was intentional, that's great. That's fine. From a design point of view, that's a fine interaction. I don't mind it in like a game if I'm a player in the game. I was just I'm more so curious if that was this was Peter's card. If Peter's intention was to be able to just re-recruit the Chest Burster after you KO it. Because at that point, like, why make them KO it? Yeah, I think this was the Xeno Worker that we saw earlier would be insane. And honestly, like, I use the word insane to, like, I think it would make the team strong enough that it could be played, and that's exciting, right? I mean, everything about this card's fine. Like, you got the Creature Swarm. Like, this feels like a Xenomorph. It's fine stat line. A sweet power that, like, super, like... It helps the problem that you're trying to solve, and it does the thing, Tina. Yeah, this is a great card. Great job, Peter. Godzilla is a monster and that's a Leviathan, right? Yeah. One-of-a-kind creature. Godzilla's a one-of-a-kind creature. That makes sense to me. We have a 2 health, what's her Mercury card. Pay any number of resource points to recruit Godzilla. The recruit cost you paid will also be his attack. Pay an energy. Godzilla gets +3 attack and range for his atomic breath. So you can't make it counters. You have to make it base attack and defense values. So on 1 he's a 1/1, 2 he's a 2/2. The radiation grows him. So he's like in Prime's time at like 5 and 6, right? Interesting card. Solid. I like that you give a nod to the atomic breath. I wish the atomic breath also gave him flight. Like when he used his breath to projectile himself up in the air. But that's just a me thing. That's not a you thing. If you have the blue to pay on curve when you play this guy, seems fine. And it helps both teams out. Specifically, it really helps out if you're playing a mom deck, right? So, cool card. I like it. Kid Kaiju. All right, so we got a 3-drop Kaiju who is a 0/7 with 2 wounds. I like the stat line. From a flavor point of view, the only thing I'm concerned about is Kid Kaiju having 2 wounds. I don't know if he's as durable as that, because he does all of his stuff from like shield base, I believe, if I remember correctly, and he just like makes the monsters. He doesn't actually get out there and rumble himself, which again, like, but I mean, for playability, you might have needed that second wound. I haven't really looked at the card fully yet. So, but again, on the flip side of that, you're also trying to deal with monsters not being able to stick as well. So giving them the 2 wounds makes sense as far as that goes. At the end of your turn, put 1 vitality counter on another monster supporting character or heal a wound from a monster supporting character on your side. So he's just to heal. He would have to combat with Elsa Bloodstone. I like the card. I think it's fine. The only flag for me is the 2 health, but the idea is to keep the longevity of cards, so I kind of I can see that. So yeah, cool card. Crossbones Sin, 4-drop 4/4 with range and 2 health. All right, that seems pretty reasonable. Double Soldier. So this is basically the equivalent to Fitzsimmons, right? 2 soldiers, 2 agents, 2 health. I have not read this card yet. I really hope that we lose a soldier and we lose one of our powers when we get stunned. Trauma Bonded. When Crossbones and Sin get wounded, they lose 1 soldier. Yes. And each player chooses for them, or enemy player chooses for them to lose brutal or cruel until they are healed. Perfect. I love this. I love this so far. Brutal. When Crossbones wounds an enemy supporting character wounded again. Holy moly. You don't even have to pay for that. Fitzsimmons powers you have to pay for. Holy moly. Double wounds on anything that you stun? I guess it's not as like strong as lethal, but it still like seems really like it's basically lethal, right? So it wounds a supporting character. It's on attack or defense. Cruel. When Sin enters combat, put a -1/-1 counter on each enemy character in combat. So you're always taking brutal away, always. You're like, man, Cruel just like above and beyond, just like Brutal is just like miles ahead of Cruel. So this is a cool card. I think that Fitzsimmons and like Crossbones and Sin, I think that's a card that should have like 2 Hydra symbols on it. So if you play it in a loyalty deck and you have it out, it's like you have 3 Hydra characters out, right? So you can play your loyalty twist. Although they don't have a loyalty twist, do they? That's when they stop doing loyalty twists. But yeah, like these kind of cards that are 2 characters in one. It's a neat card. I mean, it's not like phenomenally like strong, which is kind of what you want on a 4-drop, right? Like you want it to be playable, but you don't want it to be like busted game ending, right? I didn't even think about the soldier thing. That might be a little too strong. Might need to be more expensive. Maybe like a 5/6 drop, 5/5. Yeah, Brutal's definitely like miles above. Like I was saying, like Fitzsimmons, you kind of have to like make this choice of, okay, which one of these is better for this person's specific deck. Like I've built decks with Fitzsimmons that like I'm using this yellow every time. I've built Fitzsimmons deck where I'm using the red every time. I've built decks where I can use both pretty efficiently, right? This one you'll never have that issue. You'll never be like, which one should I do? Which one should I do? You always take away Crossbones. So, is that our last card? Oh, that was our last card. If I'm judge in this event, I think I'm giving this week to... I think I have to give it to Chestburster, man. Because I think this card is strong enough that it could actually make this team viable. I think it does. Like, I gotta take this one out. Like, this one and C-Stacks Predalien are probably on the same level for me, where I like the idea. I just think it's too narrow. I love the she turned, like the journey I went through when I was looking at this card. I really enjoyed. I really did like this card. But man, like these 2 cards here, this Worker and this Chestburster, I think each by themselves could like really help take the team over. This is about like, it's funny because like we were like the Worker with Valkyrie would be really strong, right? But like just giving aliens a Valkyrie on like is probably enough. So I think I'd go Chestburster. If I were judging, it would be my winner for week 1, and then Xenomorph would probably be 2. So awesome. Congratulations to everyone. Everyone did really good. I really enjoyed looking at everyone's cards. I was super excited to see everyone, what everyone had came up with. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, let me know what card you thought was the best from a design standpoint. I will probably do another stream where I will build this week's card. I have an idea, but I don't know if it necessarily fits. I think it fits in the parameters of this week's challenge. I could see where other people wouldn't think that. So,